What Up Though Show. It's your boy Dame D, and I'm going to be joined today with my guest. You can go ahead and introduce yourself to the show.
Joseph knows, man. You know,
What's going on, Joe? What's
Public
going
and
on,
Jeff
Joe?
going on.
Okay. We're going to be discussing this Puffy situation, Joe. My question in today's topic is: will Puffy be coming home, or will they find him innocent or guilty? I'm going to start it off with that first question. Let me make sure that my audio and everything is straight, Joe. I know you can hear me, but let me go on my page real quick just to make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Okay, and I think everything is everything. Okay, there we go. So my audio is good. Okay, so first question, Joe. We don't have anybody in here yet, but quite sure a few people will be checking in. I wanted to wait to see who's going to come in and who's not going to come in. But I guess I started off with you. We started this conversation earlier, Joe. So give me your opinion on why you think the jury's going to come back with a guilty verdict when they do come back.
Starts with what, like 7 counts, 8 counts, and then the prosec. So yeah, he was originally hit with like 7, 8, like 9 counts of different charges. It seemed to be more repeating charges. So they end up reducing them down to 5 counts, which is count
Okay.
one. Count one is racketeering. With carry at max racketeering, and count two would be sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion.
Right.
Uh, and then this third one is transportation to engage in prostitution. And then another one was sex trafficking by force, with fraud or coercion with Jan, that was a sex worker.
Right.
And then the other one was with Cassidy.
Okay,
And
now
then
were any of those the charges that the prosecutor dropped? Because I know they dropped like
no, 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 those are the ones.
four major charges that he had.
They are Those are the ones that he's getting. The jury is actually making the decision on now. What I just named. The other ones was the the other ones were racketeering, pretty much racketeering, trafficking, sex trafficking, but they couldn't prove those. So these is what they feel like they can prove. And then each one of them charges, like the transportation, brings a maximum sentence of 10 years, and the sex trafficking by force brings a maximum of 15 years. So they're gonna probably work concurrent. The next thing you know, he could get up to, I think now looking at this, by 15 years.
A lot of the major charges originally, Joe, they dropped. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not major, but at the same time, to me, from a lot of people have said, they really have not proved their case. They brought a lot of people forward who had a lot to say, but they still was never able to get any of this stuff, to stick with Puffy. And a lot of people are thinking. Go ahead. I'll let you elaborate on that. Go ahead, Joe.
Because they had celebrities. It was two celebrities that showed up into that trial. There was other witnesses. There was bodyguards. There was a lot of witnesses that took place. There was actually people that's in the sex party, that was in the trial, that was a witness for the prosecution.
People that showed up, but like the key points from what I'm hearing, because I wasn't in the courtroom, so a lot of the stuff we're just going by hearsay. But from what a lot of the things the feedback that I'm getting, a lot of the stuff that came out, it's probably not going to stick, because like a lot of the stuff that they're like the sex trafficking and all that stuff, these were willing and participating people who participated in these things, Joe. So give me your opinion on why you think like the sex traffic charges will stick. Before
I,
you
I
answer that, we have a few people here watching. I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you're not a subscriber to the channel. But go ahead, Joe.
well, the racketeering is what they having an issue with right now. So
Right.
that's what I don't believe is going to stick. The racketeering, because that's racketeering, in my
That's a
opinion.
Right, that's something that usually stick for like for mobsters or
Yes,
things
it
like
has to
that.
be
You know what I mean?
organized. It has to be
Right, or
organized.
organized type crime. But go ahead, I
And
didn't mean to cut you off.
this seems to be a little disorganized. This doesn't seem organized. I don't think the racketeer gonna stick. But the jury has already came back with a verdict with the last four. I don't
What do
think you
you
know
mean
that.
they've came back with a verdict?
The jury had came back with a decision on count two, three, four, and five already.
Okay.
The judge is
And
asking them to come back tomorrow for the racketeering, but they already have a verdict for the rest of them.
oh wow, see, I didn't hear that part today.
Yep.
So that's something that I was missing. So they did come back with a decision
And
on
not only do they
counts
come
one
back,
through four. You saying is what you're
no, no,
saying?
two through five.
Okay.
The jury came back with it. And here's the part that trips me out. They came back quick.
Well, yeah,
That
we well
wasn't
they're
normally it takes three,
it
four
started
days.
Monday, so they've been 2 days
Take
deliberating, right?
I mean, they had a decision by this morning.
Oh wow.
So when
But
I'm
go
telling
ahead, Joe.
you,
Go ahead.
when stuff go by that fast, it ain't looking good, man. And
No,
they
I
said
mean I agree, but at the same time, man, it's to me, you know, the things that I've been hearing, and the news that I've been getting, and I did not hear what I did not hear what you said today that they came back with that verdict, but but the judge sent them back to try to see if they can come back with a decision on the racketeering
yeah, yeah,
crime,
yeah.
right?
That's what they waiting on. Yep.
Okay, so I didn't know that. So I spoke a little bit too soon on the other on the one subject. I did not know that. So I'm gonna have to go and look that up, Joe. But like I said, we have a few people watching. You guys let me know your opinion. Do you think they're gonna come back with a guilty verdict or they're gonna come back with a innocent verdict? And
Yeah.
then for those that's watching, Joseph has said that they've already came back with a decision, on what he's going to be facing or not. So let us know in the comments section if we're right, if Joseph is right or not, because I did not hear that part. So and also I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know. Do you think he's going to come back found guilty? And if you think he's going to be found guilty, Joe, tell me what do you think he's going to be looking at? Just
Listen,
throw a number out there.
because and this is where I know how it happens. If you black, we don't ever get that type of break. It's still like when R. Kelly did what he did, Bill Cosby, they were trying to, well, they gave Bill Cosby 8 years, but they were trying to give uh, R. Kelly, what, 25, 28 years? I don't see anything less than 20 because one of them counts can go from 15 years to life. So, so, so yes, count four, count four, and count two can go from, it's the minimum sentence of 15 years and the maximum sentence of life in prison.
Okay, now name us off the counts again, the counts that he's actually being charged with again, and we'll go from there.
Count one is racketeering, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. That's the one. That's the one they want. I don't think you'll face that one. But count two is sex tra- sex traffic by force, fraud, or coercion. Of Cassidy, she
Me say this. See, because a lot of evidence that came back, she was participating, she was willing, and a lot of the sex workers that spoke that they brought in, she was a willing participant. She was not forced to do any of that. You know what I mean? And
would
you
you
had witnesses come back saying that she was a willing participant.
you
Which his lawyer broke that part down. But go ahead,
do
Joe.
you know what they said this morning on the news? They said that after a freak off at some hotel, Diddy said they flew. She said on trial that they got on a plane and they were supposed to be going somewhere else in New York. And he told her, if you don't do another freak off in New York, then I am going to show your mother. So that's the coercion part right there.
Did they was that proven? Did he said that to her? You know what I mean? Because that right there could be a lie in itself.
He did one of those freak offs. He showed the video and said that I want you to do the exact same thing again in New York. And if you don't do it in New York, I'm gonna show your mother. I'm gonna show everybody this video. And that's it's the sex trafficking. That's the sex trafficking. So they try. I don't know. If they played that video. We ain't there. I don't know. But that's what Cass. That's what Cassidy said.
Like far as did they actually have evidence and they played that in court? So that may not even stick, because that's still hearsay, Joe. And a lot of the stuff that's been coming up has been hearsay.
Kid, what is Kid Cootie?
His car up. That's why they dropped those charges. So a lot of the go ahead.
See, this is where you mess up at. When you in trial, it's not about truth or false. It's you are. It's the persuasion. See, that's what court is. It's never about right or wrong. I learned that in child support court. It's never about right or wrong. It's about what you can persuade. It's about persuasion. It's who can make the jury believe what is true or not. And I'm gonna tell you right now, based on them showing that, remember in the beginning of the trial, they show a video of her getting her ass whooped at that hotel. What they
Right.
did was paint a picture of how this guy get down. They played on the emotional part of the jury. This is what it was all about. It a lot of that stuff, unless you got video evidence, which there is some video evidence out there, because they did find a whole. Remember when they raided his house, they found a lot of sex tapes. I
I
mean,
mean,
that
but
was there.
what sex did they present? Did they present any
Yeah,
in court though? You know
those
what I mean,
things was
Joe?
in court. People saw videos. Trust me, testimonies and the videos was there. It's you don't have to prove exactly what happened that day. You just got to persuade what is the nine jury? How many is in the jury?
You got 12 jurors
You got to convince them.
plus an alternate, and I agree with you. But
I,
at the same time, what do you think? Do you think the defense has done a great job at breaking down all the witnesses that's been that the prosecutor has brought thus far?
I heard from what I'm reading that they didn't really have a defense behind it. Prosecutor did most of the laying out the evidence, and the defense had a closing argument, but I don't know how the evidence was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. And then they showed the video of her getting a butt whoop like that. They
See,
showed
and that's what I
that
was going to say,
that's
Joe. Only
horrible,
really,
man.
and I'll give my honest opinion on that. That's the only thing that I honestly think that they will convict him of
No,
is
you can't convince them that. That's not why
and
he
right,
was
and you
there.
can't convict him of that,
Mm-mm.
because they're not even. I don't even think there's any charges for what he did to her in the hotel room. It'll make him look like a bad person, But from what his defense team has what the defensive team has put together, all the charges that they presented amongst him, they've been knocking those charges down. So it's pretty much like I say. At the end of the day, it's been a lot of hearsay. So I need for you guys to give me your opinion. Let me know what you think. Do you think these charges are going to stick? Joseph has brought up what? So give me charge three, Joe. Continue to read off the charges, and we'll just continue breaking them down.
Uh, let's see if I can find it. Hold on a second. Oh, just there. Hold on.
Because like I said, the racketeering, we know that's not going to stick. Um,
Charge three.
Say that again.
So there are repeat charges. They just got different names to them. So they charging
Right.
him for two people. So these counts is regarding to two people only. It's pretty weak when you do that. That's why I know it's not racketeering because it's only two people you charging with. They only charging him with sex trafficking against Cassidy and sex trafficking against Jan.
See, and I still don't understand that, Joe. How can you charge him with sex trafficking against Cassidy when she was a willing participant and she actually it was a lot of evidence that was put out about with her that she actually set up the most of
I heard about that. Yeah,
the sex trafficker workers to come in, I should say. Or I'm not going to even say the sex trafficking workers, the actual people who came in to
yeah,
have sex and party with them.
yeah. I don't know, man. Um, I don't know, and I
Yeah,
didn't hear about
so
that.
that's yeah. So
But
she was
they
and a
said,
lot of people don't know about that. She was she was the main person that would invite and bring them in. That right there. Puffy didn't have his hands involved in doing the setup and bringing the
no,
people
no,
in.
no,
He
that's
had
not
other
true.
people setting that
That's
part up.
that's not true because they said they had several. They have a lot of receipts of Diddy paying for prostitutes or male uh, prostitutes and women prostitutes to travel across state lines. Airlines, they said they got airline tickets, hotel tickets. They have a lot of proof that, and they was able to convincingly show the travel from one state to another. That's
And and,
why,
and, and and they have all these tickets and all this stuff in Diddy's name.
yeah. I mean, they said that he did it. This
Okay,
what
well,
this is what I read. This is what I heard on the news while I was working for what the
right.
news agencies have reported out. So this is why I believe that he's going to be convicted of sex trafficking. For sure, the transportation. Sex
What do
trafficking
you?
and transportation is what he gonna get convicted of. That racketeering, no. I think he's gonna get count two, three, four, and five. He will be convicted of that because they said the jury has made a decision real fast. They
Yeah,
only
see,
asked.
and
They said the
and that
jury asked
part, Joe,
questions about out one only.
and like I said, I just walked in from work, so I didn't know about the jury came back with a decision already, and the
Yeah,
judge sent them
they
back. So I'm
we
not familiar with that part. So look, we have a few people here watching. If you guys know anything about what happened today in court, put it down in the comment section. Let us know, But so yeah, I'll let you go ahead and elaborate on the other. What was the last charge that you spoke about again, Joe?
So again, they are the same charges with just different names to them. So
Okay,
count two is sex trafficking with Cassidy. Count three is transportation again with Cassidy. Count four is sex trafficking with Jan. And count five is transportation with Jan. So these are it's just the same charges that he did towards both of those two people.
okay. So pretty much what the prosecution is doing is just trumping up a bunch of charges, hoping that one of them will stick. So that's what it sounds like. You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
me.
with both names on it. Yeah, I mean, I can't see how he will lose. Look, when it comes to Jan, I think the sex trafficking with Jan will actually now that I think about it, I know for sure. I don't know for sure because I
And
ain't no
now was
judge.
Jan the
The sex worker.
okay. Because I know they brought I forget whose baby mama in to speak about I forget about exactly what it was about that they brought her in to speak on the sex trafficking part, but
But let me be sure if that's the sex worker.
but like I said, it's a few people in here watching. I need you guys' opinion. Let me know what you think. Joseph said that the jury has
Oh,
already
they got it.
came back with a
They got his
decision,
name. They
but the
got that name
judge
as
has sent them back to go back in tomorrow to deliberate on their racketeering charges. Let me know if that's exact or not.
Jay was a sex worker, and his
Okay.
name. They got it.
Now was that the guy or was that the female
That's a
female?
guy. That's a guy,
Right. Okay.
and they got him as Jan Doe. So they don't want to
They
reveal
don't
his
say
name.
their names. Okay. And
No.
I know who that one is. See, and from earlier talks, when they originally talked to this guy, it all seemed like Cassie was setting up the people to come in. I don't think Diddy had his hands put in that. I think he had her actually setting up the people that would come in. You know what I mean? So I
Nah,
could be
I
wrong about
disagree.
that, Joe.
I disagree with that. I think that he was
Okay.
involved in a lot of this stuff. Listen,
Okay.
listen, I don't really want him going to prison for the sex trafficking because I'm with you on the fact that they all are willing participants. So
Right.
I'm with you on that, but that's not how the law is right written.
See, and then you got
If
to
I
think
get
about it, Joe. You got to think about the jurors that they selected. You have a lot of high qualified men with money. You know
Mhm.
that probably can relate to Diddy.
No,
You don't think
these
so? Like
no,
some of
these
the
people
you
are professionals.
right.
They got a misogynist. Maybe he might get one, but to be honest with you, these are they
You have a
just
scientist in there. You have a lot of professional men that they named off that makes I'm not going to say they make the money that Diddy is making, but they make a substantial amount of money to the point where they put these type of men up there, to to be able to understand where Puffy is coming from, a man with money and a man with means. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to go a long ways with these guys that's on that jury, because they know they've probably encountered certain women, and certain men's with money,
mhm.
um, and how that shit goes. You know what I mean? So I think that's why the defense allowed those jurors to stay up there. But yeah, I want to ask you this question, Joe. If you think, do you think Puffy's attorney would have copped a plea if you think that he had if they think he has any chance of being guilty? I think he would. They probably would have copped some type of plea by now. Do you think that?
Do you hear them even offer a plea deal? That's a question I need to ask. Do you think they even offer
Um,
him one?
I think they would. I think they
Well,
would
it's too
offer
late
him a
now.
plea deal if they thought that.
It's too late because it's been uh it's already hit the trial, or the
Yeah, but
jury had made a decision.
a plea deal can come tomorrow. Say
No,
for
not
instance, if
not when it hit the jury like that. The jury made a decision already. It's too late.
right, but I get it. But what I mean is, a plea still can come at any time. Long as that decision has not been brought up.
Okay.
Because the Puffy, his lawyer can go in there and talk with the prosecution. Like, look, what deals do you have on the table? You
I'm
know what
not
I mean?
100%
So
sure. I'm just gonna have to trust you on that. I'm not sure on that, but
okay,
I assume you're right. But I will say this though: they waste time, all this time, and I don't think they're gonna do that.
yeah, because
I don't think so.
yeah. Because at the end of the day, man, it's pretty much that they're going for gusto.
Yep.
Either he's going to be acquitted or he's going to go. So both sides are going for gusto. I have not heard the prosecution put up a plea deal, and I have not heard
Mm-mm.
the defense team asking for a plea. So do you think tomorrow is going to be a decision, Joe, or do you think it's probably going to go off into the weekend?
Oh no, it's gone. They don't want this lingering into the weekend. That's why the judge is making them come back tomorrow. They will
Oh
not go
wow.
past the weekend. They already made a decision on the rest of them counts. It's not going to be a weekend.
Mm.
I can guarantee you that this is over tomorrow.
Okay, and you said, and what's your decision on the verdict?
He's guilty on count. He's guilty on count two, and he's guilty on count four.
Okay, and I want to ask you this question: where's all the Puffy friends, all the people that was by his side before all this shit happened? You have not had no one speak up on his side. A lot of people has been kind of distancing themselves from him. How do you think this will play out if he's not found guilty tomorrow? And these so-called friends of his distance themselves from him. How do you think he's going to approach the industry coming back into the industry if he's found not guilty? Do you think
He
he'll be able to recover from this, or do you think
no
it'll
no
be
he's
over
done.
with for his
He
career?
he's done. So let's just say for the sake of argument that he doesn't. Let's just say for the sake of argument that he wins, right?
Right.
You will never see Puff Daddy again
Okay. Wow. That's saying a lot.
because you can't see him again because even though he beat the case, which he did, which he's not going to beat the case, but let's just say he did, the image is done.
Okay.
If I accuse you of rape and I
Right.
broadcast that across the world, or somebody brought not me, but somebody brought up that you raped somebody, even if you prove that it's not wrong, that they wrong, you guilty.
So you don't think he'll ever be able to redeem his career, or you don't ever think that he'll be able to sign another artist to his label again?
He's done.
Wow.
You'll never see him again. And let's be honest. Why would you want to see? Why would you want to come out here again? Because why would you want to come back out? I wouldn't want to come back out again. I feel like the
I mean,
world has turned.
cause he's an arrogant motherfucker. You know what I mean? And I think he has something to prove, to the people that doubted him, and to a lot of people in the industry. He was cocky before this shit happened. I think he'll be cocky, after the verdict comes back tomorrow.
Nah,
In
he
my opinion, I think the
okay.
verdict is going to come back not guilty. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
I think the defense have put a lot of the defense proved that it was just a bunch of bullshit. Motherfuckers just trying to go after him, trying to get lawsuits. And clearly that's what it is, Joe. Because at the end of the day, it's just really people just trying to get money out of this man. Because my whole thing is why didn't any of these people not come forward until they heard that he was giving out this money to Cassidy? No one came forward until it broke,
Mm-hmm.
until that actually story with Cassidy broke. So I think the jurors are going to is going to put that in perspective and look at the situation and come back with a not guilty verdict. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, no one complained about any of this. No one said anything until the money and the run was over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I think he first of all, for I think that none of the celebrities have came out, and you know why, right?
I know why,
Because
but go ahead.
I think a lot of those celebrities was part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, stop lying. Yeah, stop. I think Jay
Yeah.
Z. I think, at first I was thinking of Jay Z. Nah, I see everybody from New York that used to hang with Diddy. Anybody who ever did business with Diddy went to some freak offs, and I do believe.
And my thing, Joe, is why didn't they bring any of that evidence out? You know, um, or do you think that'll come out? The people that were involved, like his celebrity friends. Why didn't any of that come out during the trial?
Can I be honest with you?
Go ahead.
I don't even think the government is done.
Okay.
You think the government done?
I don't think so. Because
I think
if
they're gonna come back for other people. I don't think this is over.
I mean, listen, if they listen, you're right about that. Now, if they find him guilty tomorrow, I think they will be coming back for the
For
other people
more.
that's on
Yes.
those tapes.
I, I,
And I agree with you on that. But you had K Izzo. I can't pronounce that. Yeah, I can't pronounce that name. But what up, though? He said hi. But yeah, I don't. I
how you
think if
doing?
they come back with a guilty verdict, I think they will be going after the other people, the other celebrities who's been on those tapes, who's on that
Mm-hmm.
list. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of high caliber celebrities on that list.
I think it's gonna be some name dropping. It'll be some
Yes.
NBA. It'll be some NBA players because you know you're in New York, so a lot of people from New York. Now I want to tell you the truth, and I hope it's not true.
And let me say this
I
before you say that.
wouldn't.
Hold
Go
that
ahead.
thought, Joe. Now,
All right.
I think now if they do come back and find him guilty, I think they may give him some type of deal. Like, look, name some names, drop some names, and we may even lessen your charge. Now that
No,
may
it's too
be
late. It's too late. It went to trial already.
yeah,
He's
but it's
in
not.
jury.
Listen,
The jury is.
until the jury come back with their decision,
They already
it's
did.
never too late for the
No, no, no.
the lawyer and the prosecution to get together and make a deal.
DJ said it's no not guilty. Man, they already.
Okay, I'm with you, DJ. DJ said not a not guilty
I,
verdict tomorrow. Okay,
listen,
and tell me why you say that, DJ.
I ain't mad at that. I hope they
Okay,
do get off a little bit.
Ego said it means peace in Taiwan, RSV, Varysburg, Northwest. Okay, so that means peace. Well, peace to you, my brother.
Hmm. Peace.
Yeah. So tell me what you think, K. Eso, I don't want to tear your name up, but give me your decision. Give me your opinion on what do you think is going to be a guilty verdict or not guilty verdict. So as you guys come in, we have a few people watching. As you come in, type in the comment section. Because I want to get a round of. I want to kind of see what everyone's thinking, guilty or not guilty. So everyone types that in. I want to know everyone's opinion. But go ahead, Joe. So what names do you? So like I said, I
I'm,
think
I'm,
if
I'm
they.
gonna come out with LeBron James.
Woo.
Look, his kids is hanging with each other. I want to put it out there. And look, I'm a LeBron James fan. Anybody know I am. I
Right.
see I see him in it. I see. I don't know if LeBron James was there on a freak off part. I just believe that he might be in there. I think some powerful NBA players was there. So I know
Yes.
for sure. I don't know for sure because I ain't there. But I can almost guarantee any amount of money it's gonna be some top rappers that was
Oh, for
there.
sure. I mean, I can name a few off the head. French Montana. He had that came
What?
forward. Said, yeah.
And you heard? What about
Meek
Fat Joe?
Mills,
Fat Joe?
Fat Joe. Yes.
He
A
already
lot
going his
of.
own. He got his own case going on too.
And you said the number one guy in the beginning, Jay Z. Don't think he wasn't there at them parties partying. Because those were a lot of the rumors floating around through Hollywood that him and B was at a lot of those parties.
Mm,
But yeah,
man,
like I
this is
said, I
this
need
is
for you
scary.
guys to give us your opinion. Tell us what you think. Do you think he's going to be found guilty or not guilty? And if you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Hmm.
It helps the channel grow. But yeah, Joe. So now what was the last count? I know you said they were. It was a bunch of counts, 2 through 5, that
Yeah.
were kind of the same.
Well, they're the same. All the counts are the same. They just put in. They just charging them two against two separate people. So one of them is count two is okay. Count one is racketeering. That's just the racketeering as an organization. Count
Right.
two is sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. That's what Cassie Ventura.
Right.
Count three is transportation to a gay and prostitution. That is what Cassie Ventura. Count four is sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion by Jan. That's a sex worker. And that's Jan Doe. They don't want to put the real name out there.
Right, and we
And
know who that is. But
I don't know who that
DJ's
is.
dad said prosecution did not prove their case, and I agree. But go ahead, finish with the.
I'm trying to figure out how do you say that he didn't prove his case?
I
Tell
mean,
me.
I agree because they did not prove. I mean, they put a bunch of people up there with hearsay.
But
It was not proven that Puffy actually brought these people in.
yes, it was. They got video, they got receipts, hotel receipts, airline receipts.
With his name, with his actually signature and name on those receipts.
Yeah, he paid for it.
I mean, with his real name,
It doesn't matter about
because
that because he got businesses. Nothing in his name anyway. He has
right.
businesses. Yes, he,
So how can you prove if it's nothing in his name? How could you prove it was actually him though?
listen.
You know,
They
if it
said they
wasn't
got
in his business name.
it was definitely receipts of this man doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no ill to that man. He did it. He did this. And I
Right.
listen. I want him off. Don't think that I'm rooting for him to go to prison because I'm not. I like Diddy. I
Right.
like
And I
his
like him
music.
too. At the end of the day, I don't want to see it. Listen, if he's guilty of the things that they say he's guilty of, then yes, he should go to jail. But if they can't prove these things that he did, um,
Yep.
he's not going to go to jail. If anything he's guilty of whooping Cassidy ass. We saw that. You know,
Yeah, he definitely did that.
that's one of the things that we know he's guilty of because we saw that with our own
Uh,
eyes. A lot of this stuff is just. I'm just gonna be
okay,
honest.
look.
It's hearsay. And he had a lot. See, and this is what people with means do. They don't get their hands dirty. They have other people doing that shit for them, like bringing people in, the exchange of money. Because I don't think he personally handed anyone any money. No one can honestly say, and from the court's record, I don't think anyone has said that Diddy personally gave them checks or any money.
No, he did do that.
So it came out in court that it came from the hand of Diddy, or he literally signed a check for them.
Man, he paid for everything. That's not a debate on that.
Right, but what I mean is, okay, it's a certain way of doing certain things. What I mean is, like, far as just where he can't be charged with that. Like, if he, okay, like far as a paper trail, does the paper trail, far as when he's paying these workers off, it leads directly back to him? So and my question is, did the prosecution prove that, all the money that he gave out to the sex workers, was there a paper trail leading directly back to him, or was there someone else on his team that took care of those type of that business for him? Because what I mean by that, Joe, it's certain things that certain people like Puffy may not take care of that type of business. He may have other people doing that for him. You know what I mean? Paying the sex workers off, bringing the people in, flying them in. He may have not been a part of any of that. If you understand what I'm trying to say, Joe. Okay, look like Joe may have broke up for a little bit, but yeah, like I said, we are giving you guys his opinion. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think they're going to come back with a guilty verdict tomorrow? But look like Joe may have froze up for a second. And all I was just trying to get across is, meaning that, saying, like, far as with the
I don't know what
monetary
happened.
situation, um, they may not deliberately. You can't pin that to him if someone else was taking care of those actions. You know what I mean? Like, far as when they flew someone in for sex, I think he had someone else taking care of that. So it's not directly, on Puffy for that. Because you had Cassidy, who was flying a lot of these people in, and who was actually in charge of doing a lot of that shit, not him.
I know that Chastity, what up, Chastity, she was part of a lot of it,
Right.
but she was part of it and a victim at the same time.
Okay.
And he did use his money, his influence, and his power to control the situation. I do
All right.
believe that.
And you know what? And at the end of the day, I will agree with you on that. He
Yeah,
probably did use his power and his influence to manipulate the whole situation. But the whole thing is in court. You have to be able to prove that shit.
I think they did. I don't think it was. They said it had hours and hours and hours of testimonies and
I agree with you,
receipts,
DJ's
and
there. He said this case was about money and power.
this case was about. I think it's bigger than that, though. I think it was
Okay.
about money and power, but I also believe it's the government uh, a way of setting an example with us.
I was just getting ready to say that. Do you think it's a way of the government setting example with black folks, and black celebrities, I should say, setting examples of how they use their money and power? Because like DJ's dad said, this case was about money and power, and he flexed his money and power around a lot. You know what I mean? With not just women, with men too. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
Yeah,
And I think this was a way of this is how they do a lot of our black celebrities. They
hmm
put them in situations like this where they drain them financially. You know what I mean? Drain a little bit of that money out of them. Same thing they did with Bill Cosby. Same thing they did
hmm
with R. Kelly. They'll put these guys in situations. They'll drain a lot of their money. It works hand in hand. Everyone's getting paid. The lawyers are getting paid on both sides.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure the judge is probably going to take a bag home. At the end of the day, it's a money deal. It's a money break. You know
So
what I mean? At
I
the
got a
end of the day,
question to ask you,
go
Dan.
ahead.
If we know this is the play, why we keep putting ourselves in this situation?
And listen, I think sometimes when people get a lot of money and they have a lot of power, they think that their money will be able to, stop, certain things from and for a long time it did, Joe. Time, the money stopped a lot of
Hmm.
you know, things from coming his way, from like charges coming his way, because as we see, Puffy been getting away with a lot of shit for a lot of years,
Murder,
with the and we can
attempted
go
murder
back
with
to the
Tupac,
whole J
all that.
Lo and Shine thing, you know what I mean? So this
No,
may be his karma coming. You know what, Joe? This may be his karma
this
coming
is
back.
karma. Think about it. Think about what Keefy D
Yeah,
what the situation with him and them Crips trying to kill Tupac. Well,
right.
they actually did kill Tupac. This is the
See, and
feds
originally
couldn't prove it.
He tried to say that Puff paid him, didn't he?
Yeah, and I believe that. You don't believe that?
Right.
You don't believe that? I
I
do.
mean,
I do. I don't think Keefy D lying about that.
but the
Nah.
whole thing is when you look at it, why would you take out your main artist and your main
No. Not Biggie. Tupac.
okay. You know what? Hey, he could have. He definitely could have.
I think he played a role in a lot of stuff. I think he's been uh this is karma. I'm going with the karma part right now.
Right.
He dogged out Big Black Rod.
Right.
He did Sean wrong. He only got what? How much money did he get out of doing 10 years in prison?
Yeah.
How much he didn't get nothing, did he? Like
Look,
what, $1 million?
nothing. Let me say this to you. You're right on everything you just said. He most of
He
his
did a
artists
lot
that
of
came
people
across
wrong.
with him, he played them wrong. He did a lot of
Mace,
people wrong.
you
You
see
know
what
what I
Mace said
mean?
about him? Mace said that he wrote most of the songs,
Right.
put whatever, and he didn't get paid none of that money. That's why he was suing them
Yeah.
and calling them out actually. Jadakiss, you see what Jadakiss and them left, they had to leave. Him and
Yeah.
Style
Because
P.
yeah, because he was doing dirty shit like far as with the contracts,
Yes,
but yeah, at the end of the day, man,
that's
my
karma,
whole thing
man.
is I don't want to see another black man go down for some shit that he didn't do. But if he did do this, he definitely need to be held responsible. You know what I mean? That's my whole thing about the
Could,
situation. But at the end of the day, Joe, I think we hit it on the nose. I think his
it's
time has
karma.
come, and his
Yep.
karma has come back around for him this time around,
The way he beat up Cassidy in the hallway and paid up the hotel worker not to or the manager not to put it out there.
and it still got out.
Well, they got out. The fans got away, and they, digging stuff out. But let me ask you a question though.
Go ahead.
The way he beat up Cassidy like that. How can you doubt that he could not have done all the other things they say he did?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good
he beat
point.
her. He kicked her and beat her down.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past him whether or not he can or can't do it.
Right. No, and you're right about that. I don't put it past him. My whole thing is I just don't want to, like I said, I just don't want to see another black man go down for something that he may have not done. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we know what money does to people. Money influence people. Money have people doing things that they normally wouldn't do. And I guarantee you, a lot of those people who came down, they came down willingly. They participated in a lot of those acts, a lot of those freak off willingly. At the end of the day, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm not saying that he forced anyone to do anything because I don't think that was the case. I don't think he forced anyone to do anything. I think it was the money, that was presented that forced people to do the things that they normally wouldn't do.
And I want you to think about this. I'm gonna go a little deeper. And this was kind of going against my interests or who I believe in. They waited until the Trump administration got in to do this. Because if you
Right.
think about these prosecutors and all this stuff, I think a lot of them were Trump people,
And
DAs.
what do you mean by that?
When did that Diddy trial come out? When did it start?
Uh,
Like 2 months, 2 or 3 months?
I think it started it may have started back in December, and I think you know what, he may have been locked up in December. So we've
Hmm.
been, yeah, this may have started
Okay,
before the
so
beginning of the year.
well, yeah. Do he got a relationship with Trump? Did he?
That I don't know.
So we
You
gotta
know,
think. We gotta think
but
about it.
most of our rappers did at one point had a relationship with Donald Trump. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't doubt it. You know what I mean? He's from New York. Diddy's from New York. So I wouldn't doubt if they crossed paths and had a relationship. You know what I
You
mean?
don't find this weird that Fat Joe, Diddy, Shannon Sharp, uh, well, Shannon Sharp, these is them criminal, and these are civil actually. So maybe that's not fair. But you don't see how all these black men is getting attacked all right now.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp, Smokey Robinson, Diddy, uh, Fat Joe. Who else? It was somebody, another black person.
I mean, you can name R. Kelly. You can put R. Kelly. You
No, no,
can
no,
put
no,
Big
no. I'm
on
talking
that
about in the
list too.
last. I'm talking about
The
last
last
six,
couple of
7 months.
months,
Six,
you
seven
had
months.
Smokey Robinson. You had Diddy. Who else? I can't think of it as of right now, but yeah, they're making examples
Yeah, of
of black
us.
celebrities, and that's what's
And
going on.
I just
You
think
know,
that people are tired of the way we carry our money, the way we floss, the way we handle our business, the way we do things out here. I think I think black people tired of it, and I think white people are more tired of it.
okay,
And I
yeah,
think the government tired of it. I think people are just tired of the image that we do when we get money. And
right.
a lot of us need to be in jail. We don't know how to act with money. You
I
know,
agree.
like Shannon Sharp, come on. You was about to get $100 million bag, and you telling a white girl, "I want to put this big black baby in you."
Yeah, he set himself up
That
for that one. That was
listen,
that was a
you you need to lose your money.
right.
You need to lose your money, man. You got to lose your money
Yeah.
because
Yeah, Shannon
clearly we.
Sharp. That's another story. He was listen. He should have realized what that girl was doing to him from the jump street. From when she called him on that phone conversation, and he should have knew that he was being recorded.
No,
But not to
I
get
don't
off
know
the
about that.
subject,
I don't know
but
about
yeah,
that. But I get it.
it's basically what's the word that I'm looking for, Joe? They're dragging all of our celebrities out in front
Hmm.
of the main social the main media, letting everybody see them their business and everything being dragged through the
Hmm.
mud. You know what I
Oh
mean?
boy,
And they
too.
don't do this, and you don't see any of this done to any of these white celebrities that's been charged with some of the same crimes that some of these celebrities that we're talking about has been charged with. You don't see their business being dragged through the mud like this. So
But they're
Joe,
not flashy like we are. We flashy, and
I agree.
I
I
hope
agree.
that people watching this, I hope this gets shared. I hope this make share this everywhere in the country. This is what you do not do when you get money.
Right.
When you get money in your pocket, you better live a low key lifestyle, and you better control your sexual. See, that is the number one weakness or fall of a black man is sexual lust. Has been our biggest downfall as a race ever, and
Well,
we gotta control our sexual desires, man. I'm speaking as a person who made mistakes in that level too. I messed up my marriage on not being able to discipline myself and control myself. I think
right.
we
But
it
I,
took
I do want to
as
say this, Joe. I agree with you, but our counterparts, they're way more freakier and they do way more freakier shit than we do. They're just not exposed to the world like how you've been seeing our people been exposed. You know what I mean? So I'm not disagreeing with you,
yeah,
but I just wanted to put that in there.
that's true too.
These are
They got more
you know,
resources.
they're the freakiest of all freaks.
Yeah, and they got
So
and the money is making it. They just blowing it up. The money is blowing it up. We got to control our sex though, our sexual
right.
lust, our desires. If we don't control that,
Right.
it's been a downfall. It downfall me, downfall everybody. If you don't
Well, let me say
control,
this to you. I think going forward, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
most of our athletes and high class stars, they definitely will control a lot of this stuff going forward. Meaning, after seeing what just happened to
yeah,
what may
maybe.
happen to Puff. You know what I mean?
I
So
agree
a
with
lot
you.
of this
Yeah.
stuff probably will die down. But you got to remember,
Hmm.
this is what the elite do. They
Yeah.
party like this. This shit has been going on before Puff. and it's going to go on after Puff. You know what I mean? Because you got to think
Yeah, you
about the
should.
people
I
that
agree.
did. You got to think about the people that did it for before he did.
And they ain't get in trouble for it or get caught.
Right. So they're
So
just making a lesson. Yeah, and you're right about that.
the
So Joe, I'm gonna give you the last words
okay
on this conversation. More than likely, we're probably gonna talk about this
is
conversation
again.
again and have a
Yeah,
live panel. I just want to come in
yeah.
and touch bases with you on this. But give me your last words and let everybody know what you got going on.
My last words is I feel bad for Diddy. Uh, if he get convicted, how old is it anyways? 50, 65.
He got to be at least 50. I think he's 54 or something like that, or 55. Yeah.
If they give him 15 years, he'd be 70, right?
Right.
He might can get out.
Okay.
I just think my last words is that listen, I don't believe that those two were victims at all. All right.
Okay.
They like you said, they was participant. They even contribute
Willing
to the
participant.
yes, willingly, because the money does that. And I
Right.
don't believe that nobody a victim. I think this is how they trying to word it so they can get a conviction. But
And DJ's dad said there were high government officials involved with this case also
that could be
too.
two.
Yeah.
And it won't be
That
surprised
was a
if it's
good comment too, DJ's dad.
hmm that's I'm trying to think was it's gonna I say the next 6 months, y'all, and this is it for me. I'm done. In the next 6 months, it's gonna blow your mind who was maybe not participating in that, but has similar situations about these
Right.
sex events. It's gonna blow up mind the next 6 months. It's already started off with a bang the first 6 months. Just wait to the
Right.
second half. Woo-wee, it's gonna be
Yeah,
bad.
and I agree with you 100%. Hey, listen, if they
We
do
ain't seen
find this
nothing
man
yet.
guilty,
Hmm.
listen, if they come back tomorrow and find him guilty, there's definitely going to be some name droppings of the rest of the celebrities because I don't think he's just going to go down by himself.
If I was Diddy, I would start telling.
Yeah.
I didn't get to telling. I
Because
don't
look,
care.
let me say this to you, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Listen, if they do come back with a guilty verdict, best believe they're gonna offer him, even if they do come back with a guilty verdict, he probably can get some type of deal or lesser time dropping names of other people who were involved or involved in other sexual
Yeah.
freak offs or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So look, I just want to come on here and talk about this.
Yeah,
I wanted to
man.
get you guys' opinion. I
This
want
is
to thank
warming up, man.
everybody. I want to thank everybody who
Yeah,
commented, who came on here and left their comments, and I want to thank you again, Joe, for coming on.
yeah,
But
man.
like I
Appreciate
said,
it.
we're gonna probably do a live panel within the days to come. Especially after we hear the verdict. Once we get
Yeah.
a verdict, especially if we get a verdict tomorrow, I probably will come back and do
And then we get to talk
live
about,
panel.
yeah, talk about the sentence. What do you think the sentence is gonna be?
Yeah,
If
so
he
that's
guilty, he
gonna be
might not be
crazy.
guilty. He might
Right,
break this.
exactly.
You gotta
So
pray on
yeah,
it, man.
so the comment section will still be going on. So like I said, I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
It's been another one. It's your boy Dame D, and we are out. Peace.
Peace out.